Before the rhinestone jumpsuits, screaming fans, and hip-shaking legends, Elvis Presley had a job that was about as glamorous as a gas station sandwich. Truck driver. Picture him in overalls, behind the wheel of a massive, rattling truck, humming tunes to himself while delivering packages that absolutely nobody asked him to sing about. Elvis wasn't the king yet. He was more like the roadie of bologna sandwiches. And that giant steering wheel, yeah, it was his first microphone. He wasn't hauling gold records, he was hauling boxes of who knows what. Maybe frozen chicken wings, maybe spare tires, maybe mysterious packages labeled "Do Not Shake." Elvis had one dream, not to spill his coffee while driving over potholes the size of Mississippi. Every stoplight became a stage, every traffic jam a rehearsal, and every honking horn a backup singer. His audience? Tired truckers, a confused raccoon, and occasionally a very judgmental cow staring from the roadside. Elvis's secret weapon wasn't horsepower, it was vocal power. He practiced singing at every rest stop, using hot dog stands as if they were recording studios. Truck stop waitresses rolled their eyes when he serenaded ketchup bottles, and fellow drivers didn't know whether to laugh or join in. Elvis's voice was already shaking the world, even if, at the time, the world was just a parking lot full of rusty pickups and a jukebox missing half its buttons. Legend has it that Elvis once tried to impress a fellow truck driver by crooning while reversing his truck. Let's just say the fence he backed into was less impressed. He didn't get a standing ovation, but he did get a bill for repairs. Still, even with dents in the truck, Elvis had something that couldn't be dented: his dream of singing louder than any engine roar. Of course, Elvis didn't stay just a truck driver. He was more than grease-stained shirts and exhaust fumes. But in those early days, the rhythm of the road gave him his first taste of performance. Every hum of the tires was like a bass line, every gear shift a drum beat, and every horn a trumpet. Elvis was composing rock and roll before anyone even knew it, while dodging potholes and chasing delivery schedules. Elvis's co-workers knew something was different about him. Sure, they all delivered boxes, but Elvis delivered drama. While others grunted about traffic, Elvis sang his complaints in falsetto. Imagine a truck convoy where one guy is yodeling about broken tail lights. It was unforgettable. Some drivers swore Elvis had the power to make a flat tire feel like a gospel chorus. Others just wished he would turn down the volume so they could nap in peace. At gas stations, he didn't just fill up, he performed. Pumping gas became choreography, like a weird ballet of diesel fumes and hip swivels. Strangers stared as Elvis used windshield wipers as maracas and the air pump hose as a trumpet. Nobody had seen anything like it. Some said he was destined for greatness. Others said he was destined to be banned from every Texaco within 100 miles. Both opinions were technically correct. He loved to crank up the truck radio and sing along with whatever came on. But Elvis didn't just copy, he added flair. A boring commercial for laundry detergent, Elvis turned it into a power ballad. A weather forecast for rain, Elvis gave it a gospel revival twist. His cab wasn't just a vehicle, it was an early recording studio, complete with backup singers in the form of squeaky brakes and rattling hubcaps. One day, Elvis supposedly got so carried away belting a tune that he missed his delivery stop entirely and ended up 2 towns away. The customer never got their package on time, but they did get an impromptu roadside concert. Elvis, always humble, waved from the truck window like it was a stadium show. The cows and chickens nearby, front row VIPs. The customer, probably less amused. What Elvis didn't realize was that all this nonsense was preparing him. Performing for raccoons, cows, and confused farmers gave him the confidence to face screaming humans later. His truck was his training ground, his rolling rehearsal stage. Without the long hours, greasy diners, and missed exits, Elvis might never have found the rhythm that made him immortal. Sometimes, destiny doesn't show up in sequins. It shows up behind the wheel of a rusty truck. The funny thing about Elvis's truck driving days is how ordinary they looked on the outside. To a stranger, he was just another tired young man in overalls, covered in road dust, muttering about fuel prices. But inside that cab, he was secretly practicing hip shakes and crooning ballads to the rearview mirror. Elvis wasn't just hauling boxes, he was hauling ambition. And ambition, unlike frozen chickens, doesn't melt in the sun. Of course, not everyone was charmed. Some supervisors weren't exactly thrilled with his habit of turning delivery routes into rock operas. One boss reportedly said, "Elvis, either sing less or deliver more." Elvis responded by singing the sentence back to him in three-part harmony. It's unclear if that earned him applause or just a very awkward silence. Either way, Elvis proved that rules couldn't stop rhythm, only delay it until the next verse. There's a legend that Elvis once tried to record a demo using only truck noises. He slammed doors for percussion, revved the engine for bass, and honked the horn for melody. Did it sound good? Absolutely not. Did it sound unforgettable? Definitely. Elvis had found a way to make even mechanical chaos into music. Some say that's how rock and roll was born. Others say it was just an excuse to avoid actual work. Even in the most boring moments, like waiting for cargo to load, Elvis kept things entertaining. He'd strum an imaginary guitar on the steering wheel, or practice dance moves so ridiculous that forklifts had to stop just to watch. Some drivers bet money on whether he'd spill his coffee mid-dance. Elvis didn't mind. He was too busy perfecting the art of making ordinary life feel like a concert. By now, it was clear. Elvis wasn't built for the trucking world. He was a performer trapped in a delivery schedule. While other drivers dreamed of vacation, Elvis dreamed of neon lights, roaring crowds, and guitars the size of trucks. Destiny was honking loudly, and Elvis was ready to answer, not with a brake pedal, but with a hip shake and a microphone. One of Elvis's favorite tricks was transforming random conversations into full-blown songs. If a diner waitress asked, "Do you want fries with that?" Elvis turned it into a dramatic ballad. "Would you like extra ketchup?" Suddenly became a soul anthem. People didn't know whether to laugh, clap, or just hide behind the coffee pot. Elvis didn't care. He was rehearsing for something bigger than greasy spoons and wobbly stools. His truck became his tour bus before the fame, except the fans were toll booth workers and gas station attendants. Elvis signed receipts instead of autographs and posed with road maps instead of fans. Every toll he paid was like a ticket sale in his imaginary concert. Some workers even remembered his bright smile and humming, unaware they were meeting the future king of rock. Whenever Elvis parked his truck at night, the stars became his spotlight. He'd lean against the bumper, strumming an air guitar and humming to the crickets. It wasn't Madison Square Garden, but it was his rehearsal stage. The moon didn't clap, but it did shine brighter, like it knew it was witnessing history in the making, disguised as a tired trucker with messy hair. There's even a silly story about Elvis battling with a truck radio that kept going static. Instead of getting frustrated, he turned the static into rhythm and sang over it. Imagine jazz made out of broken signals. It was pure nonsense, but somehow catchy. That ability to turn flaws into magic would stay with him forever. If he could rock static, he could rock anything. Elvis didn't realize it, but he was learning one of the greatest performers' secrets. Entertainment isn't about the stage, it's about the energy. If you can make truckers laugh, cows cheer, and toll workers remember your smile, you can make the whole world dance. And soon enough, Elvis would trade his truck keys for a microphone, and the entire planet would buckle up for the ride. Eventually, Elvis hung up his truck driver cap. The road had taught him rhythm, patience, and how not to spill coffee while swerving. But more importantly, it taught him how to turn ordinary life into performance. The King of Rock was born not just in recording studios, but in diesel fumes, neon diners, and highway sing-alongs. Without the trucking days, there might not have been the swagger, the hip shakes, or the unforgettable laugh. The first time he stepped onto a real stage, it probably felt strangely familiar. Instead of engine rumbles, there were drum beats. Instead of headlights, there were spotlights. Instead of raccoons and cows, there were thousands of screaming humans. And yet, deep inside, Elvis was still the truck driver who turned every dull moment into music. He just swapped routes for records and deliveries for destiny. Fame came fast, but Elvis never forgot those roads. Sometimes he joked that his hips shook so much because of all the potholes he'd driven over. Maybe that was true. Maybe every honk, every diner serenade, every spilled cup of coffee was secretly shaping the king's unique style. Rock and roll was built on rhythm, and Elvis found his first beats between truck gears. In the end, Elvis's story isn't just about sequins and stadiums, it's about finding greatness in unlikely places. The King of Rock started as a truck driver, proof that even the most ordinary job can hide extraordinary potential. It's not about where you start, but how much music you bring to the journey, and Elvis brought enough to turn highways into history. So the next time you're stuck in traffic, think of Elvis. Somewhere in those endless brake lights and honking horns might be the next superstar, singing into the steering wheel, practicing a dream that's louder than engines. After all, before he was the king, Elvis Presley was just a young truck driver chasing the rhythm of the road. And man, what a ride it was.